Imagine spending decades trying to beat your biggest competitor. You launch one of the most successful marketing campaigns in history. You convince millions of people to choose your product. You force your rival into a public panic. You even make them change their formula. By every logical measure, you should win. But Pepsi didn't. Today, Coca-Cola is still the world's most valuable soft drink brand. And that's where this story becomes strange, because if Pepsi had the better marketing, if Pepsi won the taste tests, and if Coca-Cola made one of the biggest mistakes in corporate history, then why is Coca-Cola still on top? The answer involves a disastrous decision, a hidden business weapon, and a psychological advantage that Pepsi never figured out how to defeat. And once you see it, you'll realize this rivalry was never really about soda.
Chapter 1. The campaign that terrified Coca-Cola.
In the 1970s, Pepsi launched something called the Pepsi Challenge. Simple idea. 2 cups, no labels, 1 choice.
And Pepsi won!
Pepsi.
Pepsi Cola.
Pepsi!
And the results shocked America. Large numbers of participants chose Pepsi over Coca-Cola. The campaign exploded.
Why the Pepsi Challenge has been asking thousands of people across the country to let their own taste decide. And the fact is, nationwide, more people prefer the taste of Pepsi over Coca-Cola. Great, refreshing taste. That's the real thing. So take the Pepsi Challenge and let your taste decide.
News outlets covered it, consumers talked about it, and for the first time in decades, Coca-Cola looked vulnerable. Pepsi wasn't just selling soda anymore. It was publicly questioning Coca-Cola's dominance. And Coca-Cola reacted, not carefully, not strategically, emotionally. A decision was coming that would change the entire rivalry.
Chapter 2. The billion-dollar panic.
In 1985, Coca-Cola did something almost unthinkable. It changed its formula. The company launched New Coke. Management believed the data. Consumers preferred sweeter drinks. The taste tests seemed clear. On paper, it looked like the right decision. In reality, it triggered one of the biggest consumer backlashes in business history. Customers complained, phone lines flooded, media coverage exploded. Some consumers began stockpiling the original product. And suddenly, Coca-Cola found itself facing a crisis of its own making. At this point, Pepsi should have won. In fact, many people believed the battle was over. But that's exactly where the story takes an unexpected turn.
Chapter 3. The mistake Pepsi didn't notice.
Most people think Pepsi lost because Coca-Cola recovered. That's not entirely true. Pepsi lost because it misunderstood what it had actually won. Pepsi thought consumers were choosing a drink, but many consumers were choosing a habit, a routine, a familiar brand. The new Coke disaster revealed something powerful. Millions of people weren't loyal to the taste. They were loyal to Coca-Cola itself. And once that became clear, the entire rivalry changed. Because competing against a product is difficult. Competing against a deeply established habit is almost impossible. If you're enjoying this case study, subscribe, because some of the world's biggest brands have stories even stranger than this one.
Chapter 4. The hidden weapon nobody saw.
While the public focused on advertisements, something far more important was happening behind the scenes: distribution. Not exactly the most exciting word, but it may have been Coca-Cola's greatest advantage. Think about it. Restaurants, airports, hotels, sports stadiums, movie theaters, convenience stores, vending machines. Coca-Cola wasn't trying to win one purchase, it was trying to be available for every purchase. And availability changes behavior. Consumers often buy what's easiest to access, not necessarily what's best, not necessarily what's cheapest, what's easiest. And year after year, Coca-Cola expanded that advantage, quietly, relentlessly, globally.
Chapter 5. The psychological trap.
Here's where things become even more interesting. Pepsi spent decades trying to convince people to switch. Coca-Cola spent decades making people feel comfortable staying. Those sound similar. They're not. One strategy requires constant effort. The other creates momentum. Every holiday campaign, every sports sponsorship, every familiar bottle, every consistent message, it reinforced the same idea. Not buy Coca-Cola, but this belongs here. And once a brand reaches that position, competitors face a much harder challenge. They're not fighting for market share anymore. They're fighting against familiarity.
Chapter 6. Why Coca-Cola Still Wins.
So after all these years, why does Coca-Cola continue to dominate? Not because it always had the better drink, not because it always had the better advertisements, and not because Pepsi failed. Pepsi remains one of the largest beverage companies on Earth. The real reason is more complicated. Coca-Cola combined 4 advantages that are extremely difficult to replicate: global distribution, consistent branding, massive availability, and deep consumer familiarity. Individually, those advantages are powerful. Together, they become incredibly difficult to challenge. And that's exactly what happened.
Chapter 7. The war was never about taste.
So who actually won? If the battle was about taste, you could argue Pepsi had its moments. If the battle was about attention, Pepsi certainly captured plenty of it. But if the battle was about becoming the default choice for billions of consumers, Coca-Cola won. Because the most important competition wasn't happening inside the bottle, it was happening inside the consumer's mind. And that's why one of the most famous rivalries in business history produced such an unexpected result. Pepsi convinced people to compare. Coca-Cola convinced people not to. And in the long run, that changed everything. If you enjoyed this case study, leave a like and share it with someone who still believes this rivalry was decided by taste alone.